Hello, good day. I am Jamie Bleakley,
And I'm Crystal Vermeyer.
and we, together with our husbands, are the owners of A Better Tomorrow Therapy and Wellness in Anchorage, Alaska. Today's topic is traveling with little ones. So, over the holidays, my husband and I took our then 5 children, so ages 7, 6, 3, 2-ish. She turned 2 while we were on the trip, so she wasn't quite 2 when we left. She was 2 when we came back, and 15-month-old. So we had 1 lap baby, and then the other 4 had seats. But as a family of 7, we flew Anchorage to Seattle, Seattle to Chicago, and then
Got in the car.
got a car, had to load that up, and then drove to Michigan from there. So it was quite a long trip. Recommendations. Kids 2 and under, they can be lap babies. Consider whether you want that child touching you for the duration of your trip, because that sometimes it's worth getting another seat. Car seats do travel free along with strollers, so I'd say especially if you're renting a car, go ahead and take your car seats with you.
And if they lose them, they will give you a new one. They will have to, the airplanes will have to replace them, because that happened one time.
Yes.
They lost ours when Carter was like 2.5. And we got there and we're like, well, we need a car seat. And so they gave us a voucher to go get a car seat. And I stayed at the airport. My husband went and got the car seat, came back, did the thing. We were like halfway through our drive because again we flew into Philly, got a car, drove to northeastern Pennsylvania where our family lives, and it's like a 3-hour drive. And we were partway through the drive, and they're like, "We found your car seat. Do you want it to still ship to Philly or whatever?" And I was like, "What are my other options?" Because we are already like gone from there. And they're like, "Well, we could ship it there, and when you fly back through, you could pick it up, or we could ship it back to Anchorage, which is where we live." And I was like, "Just ship it to Anchorage," and I had somebody go pick it up. I don't even remember who at this point, but I was like, "Yeah, just ship it back up there, and we'll have somebody get it, and we'll be fine." So Carter had a new car seat that year, and we flew home with the new car seat.
That's a nice feature.
Yeah, worked out.
I would say too, planning ahead for your trip. So when I went to pack, I got a bunch of the vacuum bags and packed everybody's clothes individually in the vacuum bag so I could put it in there. And then when we got to the trip, they just had their own bag that they could take clothes out of. We also packed in duffel bags versus hard case suitcases, so things would fit in cars better, and we could squish them and put them under people's feet and that, so things would fit into the bag. And I planned that, like, we knew we were going to be going to the hotel, so we had all of our swim stuff in one duffel bag. And everybody's snow gear in another duffel bag, because when we were going, it was 60 degrees. When we came back, it was right at that 32 degrees. So we did have snow while we were there. We also had beautiful weather that my kids were running around in t-shirts, and everybody was like, "What? Why are they?" I'm like, "This is hot for them. Like, they're fine."
They feel great. Yeah. And I think that's really a key tip is being able to pack in the stages of your trip. So if you know that there's a layover spot in a hotel or somewhere else where you're going to be in one place and then you're going to be in someplace else for the rest of the time, having that first chunk separated out so you just have to grab that one bag. We've done that even with my kids when they're bigger, the last couple trips. Some of the times we've done add-on days where we explore the city that we flew into and we do some travel and stuff. So it's okay, what do I need for these first couple days? And everybody's everything goes in one bag for that, and then everybody has their other bags for other parts of it. So we don't have to unload everything and get into everything. It's what do we need for this 1 day or 2 days that's separate?
On our way back too, we did end up going to a Goodwill or Salvation Army or something and buying some more duffel bags just to make it easier, because we did buy some stuff while we were there that didn't quite fit. Some of our Christmas stuff came back with us. So that too, you can get luggage and such for a fairly cheap price at some of those stores down in the lower 48. When we travel, all of our kids have their own backpack, so they have their own carry-on. Inside their backpack, they have the writing tablets that you kind of push the button and erase it, and they can draw it again. They each had sticker books that they could do on the plane. They each had their own headphones that, if they sat on my husband's side, they get to watch movies. They don't get to watch movies when they sit on my side, but different things that they could do that weren't super heavy, didn't have a lot of pieces to them, but also would keep them entertained for a duration of time.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we always did with our kids too, whether it was in a car, and we did a lot of car travel before we moved up to Alaska. Like, we lived in southern Maryland and our family lived in like northeastern Pennsylvania. So it was a 5 to 7 hour drive, depending on what time we left and how much traffic, because we lived south of DC. So we had to drive through DC traffic and Baltimore traffic to get up. And then depending on which direction, maybe Philly traffic too. Like, we had to drive through lots of traffic. So sometimes it took longer, but there was always like that bag of like easy activities, things that they can pull out, things that are going to be not make a big mess, that not going to lose a lot of parts, that don't make a lot of noise. And then we also do snacks a lot of times too. Would have little snack bags. Whether I would get, depending on their ages, they would either live in their bag and they could just have control of that and eat them when they want, or certain ages.
And that was the other, or either myself or my husband's carry-on, we took a cooler. So we had snacks that we could have on the plane. We had snacks for our layovers, so that was more cost effective than trying to meander everybody to like the restaurant or go pick something up and bring it back to everybody. But we had like a good sized cooler that had juice boxes in it, that had cheese and crackers, that had Go-Gurts and applesauce and things like that. That everybody had some fresh fruits and vegetables cut up that could just kind of feed the kids. Also, if you're traveling with babies and such, you can take formula. You can take kids with medical needs. You can take like their Pediasure. TSA may ask you to open the cans, and you just tell them no. Like,
yeah, that validates their safety. Sorry, this is my kids' food for the next 2 weeks.
So traveling with like a cooler, you can take prepared bottles with you. You can take breast milk with you. You can take that specialty formula, regular formula, and things for kids with special needs. So, and if TSA gives you a hard time, let them know like what their rules are.
Yeah, and you can take, so like you're not allowed to take liquids and gels and things like that, but you can take, if they're frozen, you can. So you can take ice, or you can take an ice pack. It will travel there in a frozen form, but if it isn't frozen on the way back, you do have to put it in your checked bag. But that's been helpful too, especially taking like the different things that you're like, I want to keep these cold, and like for a period of time, all the cold stuff will keep each other cold, but some things you want a little bit more consistently cold.
Another trick that we use is that because we had like technically all of our kids walked, but with the 15-month-old, with the 2-year-old, their endurance is not fabulous and their speed is not great. We would take a wagon. Sometimes we take double strollers, but we found like the wagon worked better because we could also put some of the backpacks in the wagon and kind of set the kids so their feet were on top of the backpacks. It also had the handle that we could hook other people's backpacks onto to get us through. And it was big enough that if one of the older kids was having a bit of a fit, we could chuck them in there also. And our girls were small enough that we could put 2 on one side and 1 on the other. So have 3 in the wagon, had the boys walk. But that's a nice way to get through the airports too. And they have some like pretty cool things for some of the older kids. Like some of the carry-on bags now are like scooters that the kids can like scoot their way through. So we watched one little boy doing that. That was amazing. Like he was having a grand old time. They have some of the backpacks that like the kids can ride on. So as you're pulling the carry-on, that it's made for them to ride on it. So that's easier way to get your kids through. Wearables, like having a backpack for the baby, like that was something that we always had with us also, that if I needed to put the 18-month-old on my back to make room for the other kids, that was an option too.
And I'd say if you have long layovers, like checking the airport ahead of time, a lot of the airports do have like little areas for kids. I mean,
Seattle has a nice
more and
one.
more that's starting to happen where they have like different rooms. Some of them actually have like full sensory rooms for like kids with special needs and things like that. So doing a little bit of that like research ahead of time to figure out, okay, what are the things that I can do? Like if you have a 4-hour layover and you have to entertain your kids, like what can you do to do that? Is there anything there that I can take them to they can play on? Do I need to bring enough entertainment and snacks and all of the different things? Are we going to be walking the halls? Like what do we need to do? Because I think, at least for me, having a plan going in, at least a flexible plan of this is an option, makes it less anxiety producing, because then I'm not stressing out about like, what do I do with my kids? My son was slightly feral when he was little, so trying to contain him was always like, he was our limiting factor to going places and doing things like, and I remember traveling with him and just having a plan and putting things together. I mean, he's 17 now, he travels just fine, but at 2, it was a whole different ballgame of just wild 2-year-old boy. And so trying to figure out like, what is the best thing? We actually, the time that he lost his car seat, I think was the last time we took the car seat in the airplane, because it also put him up higher and where he could kick the back of the seats in front of him. And that was unpleasant for everyone involved. I think that was about the last time that we did that. Whereas sitting in the seat, he felt a little bit like a big kid too, so he felt like this like excitement part of it, and it kept him a little bit more away from the people in front of us and got him a little bit more room to be able to move and fidget around a little bit too. But a lot of times it would be like me and him and his sister, and then my husband would sit by himself, or we would take turns. But like usually it was the 2 kids together with an adult so that they could have some space to do their thing, or sit in the middle to separate them if need be.
Yeah, we don't take the seats on the plane with us just because that's an extra bulky item that we're trying to get
I wouldn't
in and out of the like skinny little aisle. And so I would say, like, other advice, make sure that you give yourself enough time. Like, anticipate that this is going to be a bit stressful. Anticipate that things may not go smoothly. But also, if you get to the airport a little bit early, again, find those play areas. The moving escalator, sidewalk things are, super fun for the kids to go. Like, so sometimes we just do laps around on the escalator, and time for one-on-one with the kids too. So I'll leave a lot of the kids with my husband, and I'll take one, and we'll just do a loop, and then I'll trade kids out so they get their own time. So getting a little bit of exercise that way, and moving through. Plan the time of the day that you go if possible. So like flying at night is sometimes easier than going during the day and then making for a super long day, depending on where you're flying in, if you're gaining hours or losing hours or that sort. So yeah, planning and taking the look at the number of flights, looking at your layovers. Sometimes layovers are nice. Sometimes it's better just to get on one plane and go. So kind of knowing your child, knowing your family, knowing what's going to keep you calm again, because if you are stressed and tired, and that's going to pour out over into your child. And kind of come down, your kids are kids, and don't stress out about what other people think.
Yeah.
I have been super blessed with the people that we usually get to sit next to, that like a lot of times I'll get the grandma that's like, oh yeah, I miss my grandkids so much, like I'm so glad to be sitting next to them, and I'm like, oh thank God, because it's gonna be a flight, sorry. One of the first flights we went on with my boys was like my son was so handsy and like kept reaching over and like putting his hands on this guy's knee, and this guy's like, "It's fine, it's great. I have a nephew his age." I'm like, "Oh, thank you for being so gracious," because I'm trying, but he is a touchy feely kid, so I'm sorry.
He's like a monkey, and his arms are everywhere.
So yeah, so make sure you have snacks for you. Make sure you have snacks for the kids. Plan ahead. With car pickups and such, we do the divide and conquer. So a lot of times we will get all the luggage. I will sit with at least some of the kids. My husband will sometimes take the older boys, go get the car, and then come pick us up. And that way we're not trying, it depends on the airport and stuff. But if you're having to take shuttles or taking a train somewhere else, or if the car rental is not right there in the airport, sometimes it's easier just to stay in the baggage claim area than to try to take all of your luggage and all of your kids and go as a family. So sometimes that divide and conquer is the best option too.
Yeah, we usually didn't have to do that just with having just the two, but there was the time we took the dog too, and that was like, we're not carrying this kennel and the dog and the thing. Just go get the car. Like, I'll hang out here. We'll be fine.
If that happens, make sure the person going to get the car knows what door you're at for the pickup, because sometimes they don't always find their way back.
I mean,
timely.
Eventually, they found their way back. You're here now.
LaGuardia is not our favorite airport, or JFK. One of them in New York is not child friendly, handicap friendly. Like especially the Alaska terminal. Like there is no good way to get to the luggage claim, and there's no good way to get to car rental. So avoid flying into New York, I guess is my advice.
Newark looks fine. It's just across the water.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We hope this was helpful. Hit the like, share, subscribe, follow buttons, and we'd love to hear your comments. What extra things do you have, tips and tricks for traveling with littles? And then if you also have additional topics that you would like to hear us talk about and discuss, we'd love to hear from you. So thanks for joining us.
Have a great day.